I hope you enjoyed this video. I I got some of the pictures of the architecture involved in the actual National Building Museum. It's a work of art. So some of these pictures came from last year's open house, where they do it yearly, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to go this year. So I dug out these pictures from our last visit, and basically what they do is they open up the top floors of the building and let the public roam around free. And this is the best time to get close-ups of these beautiful columns and how wonderful the architecture of this building is. And you get to spend all day doing that, which I did. And I want to add the Brick City exhibit because I think it's pretty neat. And in past few months, they opened the Brutalist exhibit and the Frank Lloyd Wright exhibit, which is amazing. And I can do a report on those later on. But the Lego is particularly more light-hearted stuff because it's pretty much interactive. If you come in early in the day, I suppose there may not be as many of the other people around, and but it's summer, so there's gonna be some competition just to get to play with the Legos. So there's a section on the back, and the second room is basically it looks like a daycare, but it really isn't. It's just a large playroom, and people can come in, and it's mostly the kids who do that. I mean, you can just dig your hands into this big container. It's like a table, and just you probably hear it in the background in the video. That's basically people playing with the Legos and putting them together. So hard to gauge when is a quiet time in this particular museum, because every time I've gone in there, there's a lot of activity. They have a lot of day groups catering to children, young people, and but I mean the big kids too. One of the video footages that I caught were recent, and that was a Smithsonian competition where they have it's an artist and crafts market, and they do this every year, and they have a competition basically, and I guess businesses and crafters are nominated to be in the show, and it's like a $25 or $35 entry fee. I'm not cheap. I'm just saying that I was not there for that day. It caught me off guard. It was 3 days, I think, like a Thursday through a Sunday event, and I was busy, so I did not attend. But that's what you saw at the bottom. But and other pictures that was from another occasion. So I did a compilation of many of my visits to this place, and I would probably add some more footage later on from the Brutalist. I was there at the opening because I being a member, like I had a chance to be invited to come in and view a new exhibit. And it was interesting because we have a lot of mid-century modern era buildings in the city, and that's basically the purpose of the exhibit is really to showcase why these buildings were in place and how they were designed and how they just kind of fit into history. Even though we're hopefully going back to the old standard of more beautiful things, these ugly, boxy, very geometric structures are part of what it is, part of history. They're still going to be there, but hopefully there'll be a resurgence of the other kind of architecture that we all enjoy in DC. So I may compile that here in a few days. Let's see what the schedule looks like. But I wanted to show you a little bit of Brick City, and that's going to run through May of 2026. If you're planning a visit to DC, this is a good place. The law enforcement memorial, it's right across the street. It's directly in front of. If you get off the metro, that's that first part of the video that you saw. and that's accessible through the Red Line, Judiciary Square stop, and it brings you exactly where you need to be. And you can walk from there to Pennsylvania Avenue to any of the other museums, if that's what you want to do, rather than continue to hop from metro station to metro station, depending on the weather. If it's nice out, then you should walk it. So the Red Line brings you there, and the museum is actually close to, sadly, the Jewish that museum cultural center where that shooting occurred is in the same block, and there's also a church there that I know very well, and it's kind of a business area, so it's pretty good. They got a couple courthouses there, so there's plenty to see in that block, and at least you can bring the family to do that. So they have the other activities inside the National Museum, National Building Museum, that are more related to family oriented. Like I've done that. I crawl down on my hands and knees to draw and paint the draws that they do every year. I did one last year, and it took a couple hours to just doodle something on a large piece of paper on the floor. And what they do, they just kind of they have a theme going about the city or something like that, and then try to connect each one of the sheets. I may have some footage of that left over from last year, but moving forward, like I said, this exhibit will continue for another year. So I hope that if you are planning to come to DC, you should make that stop. That's pretty well worth the time, and plenty of places to eat and go hang out. So you pretty much centralized everything else that is of interest in that area. I want to thank you for joining me again. I hope this inspires you to travel in the United States, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for your support.